gozaimasu. Krista desu. So these videos are going to be the last videos for Japanese 2 for lessons 17 and 18. So we're going to be looking at the Katsudo and the Rikai textbooks, and we're going to be looking at the class notes and grammar notes that Imho Sensei has in Canvas. So let's get started with lesson 17, and we'll probably do another video for lesson 18 just because Zoom always messes up after like 30 minutes or so. So let's get started. Let's look in the Katsudo textbook on page 128. So this section is about celebrations and um, things that people typically would say congratulations to. So in the blue box near the top right here, it says oiwai, which means celebration. And then right next to that, it says agemasu, which means to give something. And then the next word is presento, which is present. And moraimasu means to receive something. So let's look at some of the vocab, or the main vocab for this lesson. A says tanjobi. So tanjobi is birthday. B is nyugaku, which means admission. So when you're admitted to a um, like middle school, high school, college in Japan, it's something that they celebrate. Okay, C says sotsu gyo, which means graduation. D is shu shoku, which is when you're hired at a business. E is kekkon, which means marriage. F is shutsan, which is childbirth, or when you have a baby. That's what that situation would be called. G is haha no hi, which is Mother's Day. H is chichi no hi, which is Father's Day. I is kurisumasu, which is Christmas. And J is Valentine Day, so Valentine's Day. Japan also has this um, thing called White Day. So Valentine's Day is meant for like girls to give boys chocolate, and then White Day is the reversal of that. Okay, and then looking at the next page, 129, this one right here, it's just a bunch of things that you would find in your house, kind of. So K is nekurasu, which is necklace. L is necktie, which is necktie. M is sueta, which is sweater. N is shatsu. O is N is shatsu, which is shirt, which is different from t-shirt, which is t-shatsu. So shatsu is kind of more like a more formal shirt. O is which is picture. P is hana, which is flowers. K. Q is tokei, which is clock or like a watch. R is pen, which is pen. T is ningyo, which is a doll. S is kaban. V is kohi kopu, which is coffee cup. U is omocha, which is it's basically just like a general toys. And W is tabemono. And then I'll read the blue circles. Heya ni kazarimasu. So heya is room, and hazarimasu is like I believe it's or sorry, kazarimasu. I believe it's like when you have like a possession in somewhere, but I'll double check that with the Rikai textbook. Okay, and then the next one, it's kimasu, which is to come. Then the next one is shigoto de tsukaimasu. So tsukaimasu is to use. Shigoto is work, so you use these items at work. And then the last circle is asobimasu. So asobimasu means to play. Okay, moving on to the next page. Most of the lesson will go over in the Rikai textbook, but this one I'm just using kind of for vocab. Okay. At the bottom, near the bottom of page 130, the first bullet point B, right before the particle ni, right here, if you can see that, it says kare. Kare means he. On the second bullet point on B, right before the particle de, it says jibun. Jibun means myself or oneself. And then the next bullet point, first A, after the first word, which is sore, it says kakkoi. Kakkoi means cool. Okay. And I think pretty much everyone knows kawaii means cute. Okay, and then moving on to page 131, this text here. I think the only new stuff is about halfway down. So like these two, or sorry, these three, one, two, three. So the middle one right here, it says oshare desu ne. Oshare desu ne is fashionable. The one right next to it, right here, says yoku ni atte imasu ne, which means it suits you. And then down here, it says mezurashii desu ne, which means like something is rare or like you don't see it often. Okay, and moving on to the next pages, seeing if there's anything else. Okay, yeah, so when we were going over heya on page 129, when we went over the blue circles, heya ni kazarimasu, kazarimasu, or kazaru, which is the dictionary form, means to decorate or decoration. Okay, and then on page 133, the last green box, it says tatoeba. Tatoeba is the first word right here. Tatoeba means for example. So when you're like, oh, for example, this, this, and this, that's how you would use that. And I believe that's all for lesson 17 in the Katsudo textbook. So we're going to move on to the Rikai textbook. Okay, let's see if there's anything that we missed. So shu shoku, which is when you're looking for a job, it could also be translated as job hunting. That's D on page 152 in the Rikai textbook. So down here, D, shu shoku is job hunting. Okay, moving on to page 153, we're going to be looking at some other vocab words. Number 6 right here, it says sono baka, or sorry, sono baka, sono hoka. Sono hoka means others, or like other things. And then we're going to be looking at on the side of the page right here, going down the line, pretty easy words. First one is keiki, which is cake. B is shatsu, which is shirt. C is neku resu, which is necklace. D is necktie, which is necktie or just like a tie. E is toke, which is watch or clock. F is e, which is picture or photograph. G is hana, which is flower. H is kaban, which is bag. I is pan, which is bread. J is kohi cup, which is coffee cup. K is omocha, omocha, which is toy. L is ningyo, which is doll. Okay, and then we're gonna look at the kanji. We're gonna start with the first one, which is oiwai, which is celebration. Tanjobi, which is birthday. Kekon, marriage. E, picture or photograph. Shashin, which is photo. Toke, which is clock or watch. And kimas is to wear. So the kanji for kimas is different from kimas, which means to come. So you got to make sure that you look at the kanji and know the difference between each kimas because they're both conjugated differently as well. Okay, let's move on to the next page and the first concept. Okay, yes. One phrase that I wanted to go over is this one right here. It says "steki desu ne," which is like, oh, isn't that nice? And then we're going to be looking right now at this concept and this big chart right here. So the concept is sentence, so S in plain form, this. Okay, so you're stating further information or a reason why. So plain form, if you're putting in either future or present tense, you would use the first two columns. If you're having the sentence in past tense, you're going to use the second two. So let's go through verbs, adjectives, non-adjectives, and then nouns. Okay, so for verbs in present or future tense, in affirmative, so positive, you would put the verb in its dictionary form. So verb ru typically. And then if you have the verb in present or future tense, but it's negative, it's going to be verb nai. If you're putting the verb in affirmative slash positive, but it's in past tense, it's verb ta. So remember ta form. And then if you have the verb in past tense and it's negative, it's going to be verb nakata. For adjectives, if it's affirmative and non-past, it's going to be the adjective, but like just regular. If it's non-past and it's negative, it's adjective kunai. If it's past and affirmative, it's adjective kata. If it's past and negative, it's the adjective kunakata. For non-adjectives, you're going to, instead of, so for the non-past affirmative, instead of having the non-adjective da, you're going to put non-adjective with the na at the end. And then if you have it non-past and negative, it is the non-adjective janai. And for past, if it's affirmative or positive, non-adjective data, the D sound and then the T sound, data, with the little two, so it's double consonant sound. So past affirmative is the na adjective data, data. For past negative, it's going to be na adjective janakata. Okay, and then for nouns, it's for the non-past affirmative slash positive, you're going to put the noun and na right after it. So not the, but na. For non-past negative, it's going to be the noun janai. For past affirmative or positive, it's going to be the noun data. For nouns in past and negative form, it's going to be the noun janakata. So every single one for the past negative, it has kata in it. It just depends on if it's a verb. Verbs would be nakata, adjectives ku nakata, not adjectives janakata, and not adjectives janakata, and also nouns are janakata. And every single one of the past affirmative ones ends with a ta sound, the ta sound, but they have a little bit before it. So verb is just verb ta, adjective kata, non-adjective data, and same thing for non-adjective and nouns is noun data. So you'll notice that the adjective, or sorry, the non-adjective and the nouns have the same conjugation. So for the working backwards, for the non-past negative, each of them ends in nai, just has different things in between them. The verb has verb nai, adjective kunai, adjective is adjective janai, and then the same thing with nouns is noun janai. The only one that's a little bit different between them is in that they don't end the same is the affirmative non-past. So the verb is just in dictionary form, adjective, just regular adjective, adjective. Most of them don't end with na, so you're going to add on the na, and then you're going to do the same thing for nouns. Add na after the noun. So remember, don't add for the not and noun. For the na adjectives and the nouns. Don't put da don't put that sound, but na that sound. Okay, so let's look at the examples that Imho Sensei has on Canvas. Okay. So here is kind of a visual of it. So affirmative, the verb in its dictionary form, nai. So this is all these two columns, sorry, this one and this one going down, it's the non-past, so present or future tense, and then these two columns, it is the past tense. So ta, nakata, adjective would be just the adjective, this, and then negative kunai, affirmative past kata, kunakata, so on and so forth. And the example she has is kono kaban wa are ni morattan desu. So marau is the present tense, maratta is past tense, add des to the end of it. So you would be conjugating this, whatever word you have. So in this case, it's a verb. You put it in past tense, and you add des to the end of it. So I received this bag from my older sister. I think either my brain's not working or this is the wrong character. I'm not sure. Yeah. So marau means to receive. So you put it in past tense because you received it and you add des to the end of it. Okay. So let's move on to the next thing that we have to do. Okay, just looking really quick and see if there's any other words that we need to go over. The last example, number 5 on page 155, the last A right here, it says amai mono, which means sweet things, because remember, mono means things, and amai means sweet. Just wanted to make a note of that. Okay, and then we'll move on to the next concept. Same page, 155. Right here in the middle of the page, it says A wa B ni si o agemasu. So that's when you're giving and receiving. So when you give someone something is when you would use this sentence. B wa A ni or kara si o moraimasu. So that's A or B is a person and C is the thing. So that's more abstract. And when friends exchange gifts, and typically it doesn't involve you. So that's kind of confusing. So let's look at the examples that Imhof Sensei has in Canvas. Okay. So noun 1, which is the person, wa or ga. Person 2, ni, and then the thing, o agemasu, or agemashita or moraimasu. Okay, and she has an example. Joy-san wa Sato-san ni hana o agemasu. So person wa, sometimes it could be ga if it depending on the context. Sato-san ni, and then the object or thing. Hana, which is flowers, o agemasu. So Joy will give flowers to Miss Sato. So when you would use moraimasu is typically, from what it has been explained to me, is when, so that moraimasu means to receive. So when someone receives something, you would use moraimasu. When someone is giving something, it's agemasu. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's go to the next one. Trying not to make these videos too long because I know it can be kind of boring. Okay, looking at page 156. In the little speech, it says right here, if you can see that, it says akachan. It's the middle one. So it's the first line of paku. It says, そうですね、赤ちゃんのものが多いです. So akachan is baby. Akachan no mono is like baby things, like things you would get a baby. So this sentence structure, it's using the sentence structure of typically it's a verb plus a noun. So in the middle of the page is the concept right here. It says verb in plain form plus noun. The plain form is used to modify nouns. The subject in the modifying clause becomes noun ga. So the example that they have written down here is akachan ga kiru mono. So akachan ga kiru mono. So akachan, baby. Kiru is to wear. Mono is things. So things that the baby will wear. So it's kind of like a generalized thing because mono is things. And looking at the examples below, right here, we're going to be looking through a few of those. So one is watashi wa heya ni kazaru mono o agemashita. So watashi, I, heya, room, kazaru, decorate, mono, things, o agemashita, give. So someone, or you gave decoration things for a room, basically. It's kind of hard to translate it exactly, but generally that's kind of what that sentence means. Number two is watashi wa shigoto de tsukau mono o agemashita. So we remember agemashita means to give. Tsukau means use. Mono means things. So things you use. Shigoto is job. So you use things that are given to you at your job. Okay. And then three says watashi wa ryori no toki tsukau mono o agemashita. So ryori means cooking. So ryori no toki no toki means time. So when you are cooking, tsukau mono, so things you use, agemashita. So you were given things to use when you're cooking. Five is watashi wa ryoko no toki motte iku mono o agemashita. So ryoko means trip. Ryoko no toki is the time you were on a trip. Motte iku means to bring or to wait. So things that you bring, things that you had brung on your trip is what that sentence means. And then five is watashi ga kaita e o agemashita. So kaita means painted, e is picture, o agemashita. So this doesn't have the mono in it. It doesn't necessarily have to have mono in it. It just has to have the verb in its plain form. So ta is a top form is a plain form. So kaita is painted picture. Kaita is painted is picture, so painted picture. So you were given a painted picture. So you don't necessarily have to use mono. Most of the examples have mono in them. I'm trying to see. Yeah. So let's look at what sensei has. I don't think we did that yet, did we? No, we did. Yeah, we did do that. I think. Either that or I'm being very forgetful. Okay, so I think it's just out of order. So verb in plain form plus a noun used when explaining something in detail. So here are some examples. This is ryori, so cooking. Ryori no toki tsukau mono o agemasu. I give something that can be used for cooking. Akachan ga asobu, which is to play. It's in dictionary form. So it's instead of asobimasu, it's asobu. Asobu mono o moraimashita. So I received something the baby can play with. So mono can be translated as something. Doesn't necessarily have to be like this thing. It can be just be the word something. Okay, and then let's go back to did we do this? So moraimasu and agemasu are split up for some reason in here. So moraimasu or moraimashita, received or received. Aikawa-san wa Marina-san ni chocolate o moraimashita. So Aikawa-san received chocolates from Marina. Okay. Then there's a few more words in here that I wanted to go over really quick. Page 157. If you can see this right here, number 2. A says baku, which is bag. And then number 4, the choices. C says fuku, which is clothes. And I believe that's the last, no, it's not the last page. Number 1 on page 158, right here, it says pea no mono, so pair. So not like a pear that you eat, but like a pair of people, like 2 people. Let me see. I believe that's the last word that's not gone over in the chapter. That's what it looks like. Yes. So that's the last that's in the chapter. So we're going to look at the last thing that Sensei has in Canvas. So it goes over the occasion, ni blank o agemasu. So you gave someone something at an occasion, plain form, des, hea ni kazaru mono o agemasu. So you decorated your room with something, agemasu, moraimasu, and kuremasu. Okay. So one is donna toki furezen purezento o agemasu ka? So what time basically what time did you want to do presents, or did you want to give presents? You say the occasion ni agemasu. So you want to give something for this occasion. So you could say tanjoubi ni agemasu. You want to give something for someone's birthday. So it's the occasion ni what you want to give o agemasu. So to give blank for said occasion. Tanjoubi ni purezento o agemasu. So you want to give a present for someone's birthday. Okay, and then we have the ndes, so something in plain form, which is used to explain something when you're curious about something or surprise. So these are the examples for verbs, adjectives, non-adjectives, and nouns. So this just has each of the different, so this is positive, non-past, negative, non-past, positive past, negative past. So this just goes down the line of the chart that we went over earlier, and it just gives you examples. So iku to go, atsui, which means hot, genki, which means like, are you doing well, and nihonjin, which is Japanese people. So it has each of the different conjugations on how to do it. I'm not going to go through all of them because I'm starting to lose my voice again. Okay, number 3, mono. So mono is things. Hea ni kazarimasu plus agemasu. Okay, hea ni kazaru mono o agemasu. You're combining these two sentences. So if you wanted to say you give something and you decorate something, you would put the first verb in its dictionary form, mono o, and then the second verb. Okay, shigoto de kimasu plus agemasu. Combining that, you get shigoto de kiru mono o agemasu. So you wear something and you give something. Okay, ie de skaimasu plus agemasu. So ie is your home. You use something and you give something. So ie de skau mono o agemasu. So it's going to be blank mo agemasu. So you don't necessarily have to have this first part, but it helps give context. Okay, agemasu is to receive something to someone. Moraimasu is to receive something from someone. And kuremasu is to receive something from someone, the receiver being yourself. Okay, so watashi wa tomodachi ni hon o agemasu. And that's equal to tomodachi wa watashi ni kare. So instead of ni, it's kare because you're switching tomodachi and watashi around. So watashi ni kare hon o moraimasu. Or rather, it doesn't matter which one you use in this context when you switch it around. But if you have watashi wa something ni something o verb, you would use wa and ni. In this context, when you're switching it around, tomodachi wa watashi, I, you can use ni or kara. Okay, and another example, A-san wa B-san ni hana o agemasu. So A gave B flowers. If you want to switch it around, B-san wa A-san ni or kara hana o moraimasu. So you received flowers from B-san. Okay. Okay, so the correct way to do this is this line and not this line. So sensei wa watashi ni shukudai o kuremasu. So sensei gave you homework, and since you are the receiver, you would use kuremasu and not agemasu. You could also frame the sentence in this way, which would also make sense. You could either do it this way or this way. So you could say watashi wa sensei ni or kara shukudai o moraimasu. So you received homework. So you received homework from sensei. Okay. Watashi wa sensei ni purezento o agemasu. So you gave your sensei a present. Sensei wa watashi ni purezento o kuremasu. Yeah, so you sensei gave you a present. Or you could say you received a present from sensei. It's pretty weird, I know. And then there's just a bunch more examples of how to use it. Let's just look at this bottom one because there's a lot of them. Okay. Neko wa inu ni orkara ringo o moraimashita. So, received a apple, dog, and cat. So your dog gave your cat an apple. They received an apple, basically. It's pretty confusing concept, but after some practice and just kind of reading through the examples, it's a little bit easier to understand it. But if you have any questions, just let me, Imho Sensei, or Andrea know, and we will try to explain it further. I didn't want to make this video too long by going through the rest of the examples, but thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Sayonara!